On Sunday morning, the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, announced a naval blockade on Truth Social before church. I guess that's how we do things now. So the most consequential military escalation since the Cuban Missile Crisis posted between breakfast and the Lord's Prayer with cap locks on. Every headline changed, every camera turned, every anchor on cable news said the word blockade 40 times in an hour, like they had just learned it. While they were doing that, something else was in the water that we're going to discuss today. A tourist with a telephoto lens standing on the shore of Gibraltar March 31st. She photographed the most dangerous submarine on Earth, the USS Georgia, 560 feet, 154 cruise missiles, and a chamber bolted to the hull that lets Navy SEALs exit underwater without the submarine surfacing. They climb in, they flood the chamber, open the hatch, swim into the dark, carrying things the government will not confirm exist. 5,000 miles, 10 days, she went under the strait that Iran says it controls silently. The Iranians who say they own that water don't even know she's frickin' there. What came out of her? It's probably already on the beach. I'm Charlie Garcia. I predicted this war 17 days before it started on Capital Mischief. I've tracked every ship, submarine, and bomber moving toward one island for 6 weeks. Kharg Island, 8 square miles of coral, 90% of Iran's oil revenue, the most valuable piece of real estate on Earth that no one has heard of. Well, they're about to right now. The blockade is the smokescreen. Remember that. The island is the mission, and every timeline converges this week between Saturday and Monday. Last Saturday, Islamabad, the highest level face-to-face meeting between the United States and Iran since 1979. Jimmy Carter was in office. Iran sent 71 people, 71, a parliamentary speaker, a foreign minister, aides, assistants, probably somebody's nephew too, everyone except someone with the authority to say yes. 21 hours. Vance walked to a microphone, our vice president, 6 words. We have not reached an agreement. Got on his plane, came home. He left behind what he called a final and best offer, which is diplomatic for, this is the last reasonable thing you're going to hear from us, the USA, before you start hearing unreasonable things from the United States Navy, from the United States Marine Corps, Army, and Air Force. Israel's demands: full sovereignty over the strait, war reparations, $6 billion in frozen assets, and the right to keep charging ships $1 million to pass through an international waterway that belongs to everyone. So Iran walked into a negotiation to end a war it is losing and demanded a tip. That's pretty good. That is not a negotiating position. That's a man who knows the negotiation is theater and wants the theater to play well in Tehran. 3 doors have closed. Let's talk about them. Door number 1. The man running Iran's war was not in the building. You know that if you watched this last week. General Ahmad Bahadi founded the Quds Force. Interpol Red Notice, doesn't use a phone, doesn't use email. Smart. He communicates through physical couriers from a room no satellite can find. Peace ends his power. The war is his power. You cannot make a deal with the man who benefits from no deal. So let's talk about door number 2. We killed the supreme leader to force a deal. We got a junta. The system was built to survive exactly what we did, and it is surviving. An F-15 Eagle got shot down by a shoulder-fired missile from a unit that received no orders from anyone. So you cannot bomb your way to regime change when the regime was designed to survive a bombing. Door number 3, 31 provincial commands, each autonomous, each fights without orders from Tehran. A machine built to run without a brain can't be stopped by killing the brain. 3 doors closed, 1 door remains, 8 square miles of flat coral. But first, let me kill the idea that this is America doing something alone with Israel watching from the parking lot. It's not. There's actually 14 very important nations with Israel and the United States. France deployed half its surface fleet, a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, the Charles de Gaulle, 20 Rafale fighters, American catapults. That's not a gesture. That is commitment. The UK supposedly is out of this, but they're hosting 21 American bombers at RAF Fairfork, 15 B-1B Lancers and 6 B-52s, the largest forward bomber concentration in recent U.S. military history, parked on a runway in Gloucestershire that birdwatchers used to visit on quiet weekends. Well, guess what? The birds have relocated. The UK said this was for specific and limited defensive purposes. Well, the bombs are 2,000-pound bunker busters. The defense is 3,000 miles away, so specific and limited is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sense. Australia, we love them, boy. They extended its most advanced surveillance aircraft with no end date, an E-7A Wedgetail, the most advanced airborne surveillance plane in the world, because America's version doesn't exist yet, and we won't get ours from Boeing until 2028. How the hell did that happen? Who else? Italy, Spain, Greece, Germany, the Netherlands, India, Bahrain, Kuwait, the United Emirates, the Saudi Arabia, Qatar, 14 countries. And no, nobody's going home. This is not just a blockade. Now, what is all this pointed to? There's 4 aircraft carriers, 3 American, 1 French. You deter with 1. You fight with 2. You send 4 when the conversation is over, and you want the other side to know it. There's 8 submarines, I'm counting, 400 cruise missiles, 4,700 Marines on 2 amphibious ships, the 82nd Airborne, 30 satellites, 50,000 Americans, combat and support. And the part nobody on television ever mentions, 11 special op warrior units, 7 branches, 1 island, and the American Special Operations community is large, like an Italian family. Everybody has a specific job. Nobody agrees on how to do anyone else's. They all show up at the same time for dinner, and God help you if you're the uninvited guest when the antipasto arrives. Let's talk about it. There's a CIA ground branch, former Delta, former SEAL Team 6, operating under a different title of law that means clandestine intelligence collection, not military. No dog tags, no unit patches, no Geneva Convention card, and if captured, well, the U.S. government issues a statement saying it's never heard of them. So then changes the subject to trade policy. So there's already on or near that island, disguised as maybe oil contractors, watching the garrison, counting patrols, figuring out which commander is a fanatic and which one would, rather be anywhere else on Earth with a lot of money. Then comes SEAL Team 6. The men from the Georgia, 16 to 20 operators, swim out of that submarine, lock out from the dry deck shelter, swim the last kilometer in the dark. What do? Well, there's a lot they can do. They can cut the island's fiber optic cables, sever it from the mainland, place infrared beacons on the beach so that the Osprey helicopter pilots can find their landing zone for the Marines. They're the advance party for 2,500 Marines who are waiting on a ship, watching CNN in a berthing compartment. waiting for Ospreys and C-17s to bring it from Diego Garcia. MARSOC raiders, 40 to 60 operators. They seized the oil terminal 3 hours before the main assault. Not the island, the terminal. The island is the container. The terminal is the contents. Oil, lots of it. Every valve, every pipeline, every storage tank is billions and billions of dollars in leverage that stops existing the moment someone lights a match. So we need to be careful. MARSOC takes it intact while the garrison tries to blow it up. You cannot destroy what you came to seize. What else? We got the 75th Rangers, 150 to 200, combat jump onto the airfield. At night, 800 feet, night vision. Every airfield seizure in American history since Panama started with the Rangers. This one will too. While the Rangers jump, an EC-130J is circling overhead, broadcasting surrender appeals in Farsi, personalized to the garrison commander by name. The CIA wrote the script. Air Force Special Operations Command delivers it. This is what we call PSYOPs, psychological operation, and the kinetic operation arrive at the same altitude, at the same time, in 2 different languages. Let's not forget Delta Force, not on the island, around the island, mainland raids, 3 to 5 simultaneous hits. The reason the garrison receives no reinforcements, no resupply, and no orders for the first, call it 48 hours. And a target set nobody on television has discussed. The Isfahan corridor, where the enrichment facilities for uranium are, Iran's own foreign ministry said publicly the possibility that this was a deception operation, saving the pilots to steal enriched uranium, should not be ignored. When your enemy tells you what he's afraid of, you should probably listen. The 160th SOAR, the Night Stalkers, the connective tissue, every unit in this operation moves on their helicopters, modified Chinooks that fly 500 miles in the dark and extract 40 operators from a rooftop without the neighbors knowing until morning. Best pilots in the damn world. I've been with them. 5th Special Operation Groups, Green Berets along the Kurdish border. The strategic noise that forces Iran to garrison its own borders instead of reinforcing its coast. And let's not forget the Air Force combat controllers and the PJs, embedded with the Marines, the SEALs, the translators between the ground and the sky. Without them, the Marines on Kharg cannot talk to the aircraft overhead. And if someone gets hurt, you got the PJs with you, combat medics. The SEALs come from the seas. The raiders come from the Marines. The Rangers come from the sky. Delta comes from wherever Delta wants to come from. And if you ask where that is, the answer is a polite silence followed by you not asking again. There'll be many different missions Delta would be doing. Total footprint, 350 to 450 operators. The men literally in the water right now, approximately 20. Everything else waits for those 20 men and the others that are there. Everything I just told you was published yesterday on Capital Mischief. 17,500 words on my Substack, the full briefing, the 48-hour gap that could get the Marines killed, and the microwave weapons that change all the math. A shipping container that fries every drone in a half-a-mile radius, unlimited magazines, pennies per kill, never been used before, will be used now. Monday and Wednesday on Substack, Tuesday and Thursday right here on YouTube. The readers are a day ahead. If you want to be with them, there's a link in the description. So let me finish. And here's the part that makes me nervous, the part that probably should make you nervous. Taking Kharg Island does not open Hormuz. The island is 400 miles from the strait. Different geography, different problem. There's 7 Iranian islands that form a wall across the strait. 40 years of fortifications. We killed the Navy that looked like a Navy, but The one that looks like a fishing fleet with a death wish, 60% is still intact, hidden in caves, armed with missiles that cost less than a used car, and lots of drones. Kharg opens Hormuz politically, not mechanically. Without oil revenue, Iran can't fund the blockade. But that takes quarters, not weeks. Near term, losing Kharg might make the strait worse. And oil is definitely going up. The price on your screen is lying to you. Brent says 105. That's the screen price. Your broker quotes it. Well, he talks about the blockade. The real price on actual ships right now, $131 to $141, $35 apart at least. In 50 years, that gap has never been this wide, and that has huge repercussions. JP Morgan told institutional clients last week, myself included, tankers carrying pre-war crude deliver their final loads this weekend. After that, every barrel of oil that left port before the first bomb dropped, gone. The buffer is gone. Your portfolio is sitting in the middle of a conversation between the screen price and reality. Now, let me tell you about something you need to know. In 1987, a 41-year-old real estate developer spent $95,000 on a newspaper ad. It said America needed backbone on Iran. Guess who that was? 38 years later, that man has 50,000 troops, 4 aircraft carriers, a blockade, and a coral island in his sights. The ad worked. It just took 38 years to get the invoice. And I have it on Substack. You can watch it. Every timeline points at one window, April 18 to the 20. 4 carriers, full force, ceasefire expiring. The SEALs reconnaissance expires 72 hours before that, and you can't swim to the same beach twice without someone noticing the beach has been a little rearranged. You don't assault an island the day the ceasefire expires. You do it before. That's the 22nd. Because the ceasefire was never the point. It was the intermission. Let us get resupplied. Act 2 has Marines in it. I predicted this war on February 11th, 17 days before the strike started. I published the Kharg scenario. The Washington Post confirmed it 2 weeks later. JP Morgan now is telling institutional clients the same thing I told you 6 weeks ago. Now, your financial advisor is probably watching the blockade. Every network is watching the blockade. CNN's been talking about it nonstop for 48 hours. Capital Mischief is watching the island behind it for $2 a day, while the network gives you the smokescreen for free. Which one do you prefer? They give you the blockade. I give you the island. I give you what's going to happen. Wednesday, 7:30 a.m., the $35 gap, the defense names, every portfolio still positioned for a world the strait is open. It is not open. It's not opening anytime soon. May the mischief be with you. I'll see you on Substack. I'm Charlie Garcia.